chapter 4, written to the church at Ephesus. Chapter 1, 2, and 3, basically those chapters are written and they come out like this. Well, Doug, this is who you are in Christ. This is what a Christian is. Now that you're the church of the Ephesians, now you're the church in Ephesus, this really is who you are. Then chapter 4 basically rolls out this. So now, do what you're supposed to do. Be who you are. And in that challenge to be who you are, he would write these verses. That we henceforth, verse 14, be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive us. This was the challenge that was going on inside this young church. And then he would close this kind of passage out a little bit in verses 20. But ye have not so learned Christ, if so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him. The truth is in Jesus, that ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. There's the challenge. And really, that's a great passage. That's a passage you could study for 2 months. Just those in-between verses right there. And I'm telling you, you can, because we have. The reason we went back to that book is because we've studied it for over a year in the past. But when you take a look at that and then you go over to Revelation chapter 2, here's the conclusion you can make. Miss Kathy, this church did that. They did. They did what they were supposed to, and has borne, verse 3, chapter 2, and has borne and has patience for my name's sake, and has labored and has not fainted. He challenged them, and they did it. They were successful. They did the right things. And this is where we left off. The what they were doing. Verse 4. Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love. The why they should be doing it, they kind of forgot. We drew this conclusion. Because remember where all this comes from. Brother Wayne, this comes from this idea, okay, we started this study by a study of love. We took it to the end of Revelations where where's the marriage supper, and we said that's what we're waiting for. Since that's what we're waiting for, what does the Bible tell us we as the betrothed bride should be doing? So that's how we get back to this picture in Revelation chapter 2. He's writing to the churches, to the bride. This is what you should be doing. And one thing he challenges them right here is, in your busyness, in your duty, in your being, in your complying to the orders that have been left, don't forget the motivation. And so he challenges us to remember. Remember your first love. Now, we tried to boil this down. Ben, we tried to boil it down this way. That sometimes you and I, we just need some getaway time. And since it's the picture of the marriage, easy picture. You know what, you and Casey can get so busy raising kids and paying bills and that Casey can forget, oh, he's my knight in shining armor. And you can forget, oh, she's the loving one that I always want to be with. But when you get away, then you can remember that. And we can get so busy in our service that we can forget why we serve. Now, that's where we left off. Brought that to memory just so we can jump here to chapter 3. We're going to probably look at this one next week, but in chapter 3, and unto the angel of the church of Sardis write, these things saith he that hath the 7 spirits of God and the 7 stars. I know thy works, that thou hast a name, that thou livest and art dead. Be watchful and strengthen the things which remain, that are ready to die. The reason we got to spend so much time on the church at Ephesus, you'll see as you go through here, as long as that love is hot, all these other struggles, they don't happen. And even Sherry, even when it gets a little weak, see, I noticed you moved, so I wouldn't call on you, but boom, now dead center. But even when we do forget, if when the little nudge comes, you know, like when Brother Steve says, you know, I love you, little nudge. Do you really? Let me tell you, that's not a little nudge, by the way. That's like, wham. No. I know how these things go. So when the little nudge comes, it's easy to fix. But if you ignore the little nudge, it gets to the place of the church of Sardis. I know that you have a name. He goes, Mr. Martin, I know you have a ring. I know you have a title. But that's dead.
that's grown cold. And so the real call is don't let it get there. Respond quickly to that little nudge. Respond quickly and remember. Now, that's where we left off. And that was supposed to take 2 minutes. So we got to go fast. Because I want to cover 2 churches this morning. And you're going to see why, because they're very similar. Revelation chapter 2, we're going to skip the next one. We're going on to verse 12. And to the angel of the church, remember, this is written, there's like a 3-fold challenge. Brother Hank, there's going to be a challenge. Boom, this is what you do well. This is what I have against you. Nevertheless, here's the promise. Here's the encouragement. Here's the reason why you need to fix what's wrong, because blessing comes when you do. So he follows that same 3-fold picture here. And to the angel of the church of Pergamos write, these things saith he which hath the sharp sword with 2 edges. I told you this is a sword. I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. I'm telling you again, this is sounding like a good church. You dwell in the middle where it looks like Satan rules. You're living in the place where everything seems to go his way. Thou holdest fast my name, and you don't give in. You has not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr. They killed someone for holding on. Let you hold on. Who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. No, Brother Hank, I've read this, so I know he's about to. This. I know what's about to happen. What's about to happen is he's about to say, nevertheless. But I read this, Brother Ron, I read this. And listen to this. I know you live where Satan lives. I know it's in the place where it looks like he's in control and he's in charge. And I know through all that pressure and all that persecution and all that challenge, you have not given in. I know what's coming. Stephen, I got to tell you, I really want to say, come on, God, give this church a little grace. Ms. Myrna, you know how arrogant that is? The God of all grace? I don't even know what that says. But I can tell you that's what starts to grow. Listen, this church is under heavy persecution, yet they're still doing it like they're supposed to. It's not weak. We tend to go through here and we look at the challenge and we talk, and I don't want to be one of those, they're bad. Brother Moyer, they're not bad. If we're not careful, we're them. And if we're not careful, we're the church of Smyrna. And if we're not careful, we're the church of Ephesus. This is every church. This is the challenge we go through. These are the challenges the bride faces while preparing for the groom. But if we're so arrogant when we look at them, we'll never grow through them. We'll never change. Why should I change if I'm already okay? But I have a few things against thee. Because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication. Very important here, Miss Pat. It says you have them there. It doesn't say you teach that. It doesn't say that's what you believe. It's painting the picture. You just allow it. Verse 15, so hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which thing I hate. You just allow it. Repent, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh I will give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth. And unto the angel of the church of Thyatira write, these things saith the Son of God, who hath his eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. I know thy works. Listen to this. I know thy works. Listen to the list it gives of their works. By the way, this is exactly how we ended up taking a look at love. We were in 2 Thessalonians, remember? How do you continue in the battle? How do you continue in the service? 2 main things that will help you continue in the service. What are they? Love and faith. look at this list. I know thy works, thy love, thy charity, and thy service. I know your love and that you're continuing in the battle. And faith, and thy patience. You know what patience is talking about? Continuing in the service. I know that you're continuing in the service and you have love and faith. What's wrong with this church? And the last to be more than the first. Furthermore, not only are they continuing last more than the first, they're growing. This is a growing church that's marked by love, service, and faith. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest. In case you thought, well, you know, where's this allowing thing? Sufferest, Miss Murray, you know what that is. That means you're allowing. Because you're allowing the woman Jezebel, maybe that truly was her name. More than likely, this is a reference back to Jezebel from 1 Kings, which calleth herself a prophetess. You're allowing her to teach and to seduce my servants, to commit fornication, and to eat things sacrificed to idols. Hey, that's the same exact thing we said in the last church. You're allowing. And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation. We don't want to be there, except they repent of their deeds. And I will kill her children with deaths, and all the churches shall know that I am he which searcheth the reins and hearts. And I will give unto every one of you according to your works. But unto you I say, and unto the rest in Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine, which have not known the depths of Satan. The depths of Satan. Let me tell you, when you're playing around in here, you're in the deep, dark depths of Satan things. Brother Ron, you know what? When you're playing around here means this: when you're allowing. When you're allowing, you're in the deep, dark depths of Satan things. I will put upon you none other burden, but that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. We're not going to get that far, so here we go. All right, boom, 2 churches. Pergamos, a church that's in the rough battle. But Doug, what do we know? We know that they're doing it right. Easy application. We have young people in this church going to schools where Satan's way reigns. We go off to work to a place where Satan's way reigns. But Hank, where you go to work, patience, love, kindness, forgiving, okay, mercy, grace, those are not the most important thing. I know what the most important thing is. You know what the most important thing. At the end of that spreadsheet, it's in black. And that black has a big number in front of the percentage. And whoever you step on, whatever you do to get there, is what is required. We live in a world that seems, we don't even talk about our government or actually some of the homes, or we live in a place where his way seems to reign. Maybe that's why I'm a little grace. Because I can associate with it. Nevertheless, you did not deny me. Thyatira. Work with love, service, faith, endurance, not just striving, growing. When Satan shows his fangs, you guys do well. But when he comes up and says, let's just all be friends, you get weak in the knees. Do you not realize I'm getting all friendly? That you're bringing in the same group that killed Antipas with the same purpose to deal with you? They're not coming in to be friends. Balaam was a prophet for hire. Not a prophet who got paid for doing his job. He was a prophet who would change his message. He would use his office, his authority, for money and power. So Balak, the Moabite king, goes to him and says, we hate Israel, and every time we go face to face, The gates of hell shall not prevail against the church. Brother Ron, every time it's face to face, they seem to win. Curse them, do something. I need to win. So after, a little bit of mess, it didn't exactly work. Balaam says, have the answer. With this frontal attack. Go be friends. Get your Moabitess women to seduce and marry to the family. So they did. Get ready to go. Today, shooting fiery arrows can't stand you, want to kill you. Tomorrow, you're not weird, you're not bad, you're cool. Let's be friends. And so silly, we say, yes, yay, great, friends. I mean, that's a picture, that's what happened. Problem is, after they married, they pulled Israel into all the full ways of Moab. The idolatry, the immorality, see the forgetting of the one true love. I'm going to say this because we know this again, but anytime you forget the one true love, those on the outside, lovers out there who don't have true love, they begin to look a little bit better. Okay, whenever we're looking at the true love, they make no sense and have no attraction. But when we take our eyes off here, that becomes possible. All this just be friend stuff. Done. Friendship with the world, enmity with God. We're talking about the world. It's like the world. This person right here. No, we're not talking about this person. When it talks about 1 John 2, lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life, that's not this person. That's not that person. That's the way of thinking. That's the world's way. That's its process. And when we allow the world's system, its view, its way of thinking in, what we're really talking about is compromise. Jerry, I didn't say that word on purpose until I got here. Because usually when you talk about compromise, this is where we go. Okay, we've been in church a long time, so it's Sunday school, not church, right? We just be honest. When I'm up there, I have to try to be nice, but now I don't have to be nice now. So we do this. Compromise. Oh yeah, those kids in the holy jeans and the bad shoes and the screens and the drums and the guitar. That's compromise. We're letting strange fire into the church. That's where we go. Remember, I've been in church a long time. I know that's what happens when we talk about compromise. I also know why. Because we're protecting what we do, because that's where our value gets. We want to point out others who don't do what we do, and we're good, and we don't have to change, and we don't talk about things like forgiveness or selfishness, because that's really the way of the world. The way of the world is me, and it's power, and it's not wanting to sacrifice, and it's not willing to struggle, and it's not willing to give for others. It's about me, my way, and control. Okay, but we don't want to talk about it. In fact, we use that stuff. We are that way, me, my way, and control, when we talk about compromise so we can destroy others. Okay, right here when it talks about compromise coming into church, just forget talking about pants or hair or ties. Forget talking about ties. Brother Ron, the world does not care if I wear a tie. You know who cares if I wear a tie? Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? When did we lose sight of the heart? Because you know what our groom wants? He wants our heart to follow his way. And his way is far from our way. We have not attained. When we start defending our little list, it's because that's what we think is attaining is. Here. Huh? Let me give you a picture of why this kind of mattered. All right. In this area, Rome had moved in and made this city a very wealthy city. Very wealthy. But if you wanted to join into that wealth, they had trade guilds. And so you had to join into this trade guild controlled by Rome. And, we think of Rome as this big bad guy who went in and killed everybody. Well, that is the piece of Rome. Disagree with me, you won't be here anymore. That's Pax Romana. But, Miss Sherry, if you do agree with me, I'll bring you wealth like you've never known. I'll make your life easy. I'll bring you into one of these trade trade guilds, and all you have to do is at the beginning say, Caesar's God. Now, the teaching of this group, Brother Ron, was to come along and say, just say it. Just do it. You don't really have to mean it. Just say it to get in there, because that's where the wealth is. And if you notice, when Rome went in and conquered people, all they want you to do is say, Caesar's God. But you can keep yours. You can keep your temples and your high priests. How do we know that? Because we know that. There was a Caiaphas. There still was a Herod's temple. As long as you go along, no, in those temples. Together real quick, some will run out of time. Brother Ron, in those temples was a mess. We go down this list. Balaam. Okay, Balaam is mentioned 63 times in the Bible. It is the supreme god of the Canaanites. We know this, right? We know ultimately he was the god of fertility, among other things. And to worship him meant to get gain. Gain in power, gain in wealth, gain in things, and gain in sensuality. And here's the way that game is played. You use power, wealth, and things to get sensuality, or you use sensuality to get power, wealth, or gain, or things, because guess what matters? Those are the only 4 things that matter in life. And notice, even if you go back to Jezebel's time in Kings, they never forsook the God Jehovah. They just wanted Jehovah and Baal. They just wanted the way of the world and Jehovah. Just share, God. Just share your bride. Just blend it together. Ben, I read that. Every time I read stuff like that, it just makes me go like, because I've studied Baal and Ashtaroth a little bit, because they're linked. That was his like female companion. I'm sure you study that stuff. It's gross. And you're like, how can that be? A temple. Well, because when I think temple, I think here. When I think temple, I think Herod's temple. But, I've had a whole week. So, dog, I've got a whole week. Guess what? Now I've learned that when I think temple, I think MTV Spring Break. I remember those shows from the 90s. I remember arguing with all the teens that they shouldn't be there, that they shouldn't go. The bikini contest and the wet t-shirt contest and get drunk and let's evaluate this part and that part. Brother Ron, temple. I know we just went through a 5-year period where one of the top grossing movie series was, now I forgot. At least I didn't watch it. I can't remember the dumb name. But it is all about the dark areas of sensuality. Michelle, I mentioned that one time upstairs to a group of people who I love, by the way. I'm not throwing stones at them. I love them. And I want them struggling with this. And it broke my heart. And I had 3 of them never come back. Okay, because we'll defend that. We want that. Jezebel, this person who was with King Ahab, who led the people with her 2 weak husband to worship Baal. Get that 2 weak husband? Because confronting is hard. We don't want to confront. We don't want to confront out there, and we definitely don't want to confront in here. So you compromise, and I'll just let you. Oh, Brother Ron, I won't let you not wear a tie. But I will let you hold on to your anger, or your blame, or your selfishness, or your victimization. So what is that? That's destroying homes. It is destroying homes. Massive apathy. I talk about apathy a lot. Here's the picture. I know this. I know that what you want most from Miss Pat is respect. No, I know, because the Bible's never wrong, and that's what it said. It says you want her respect. You go home every day for a year and tell her how you can't handle it, and it's too bad for you, and two things are going to happen. One, you're going to deceive yourself. It's really easy for us to deceive ourselves. You're going to make it impossible. You're going to make it too much. You're going to make God too little. And the other is, how in the world is she supposed to follow someone who says, I can't do it? You're going to lose that respect, destroying homes. You know what you need when you're in that pattern? You need someone to stand right here and say, But I know what happens when I do that. Rob, when you do that. Cindy, if you do that, you're risking rejection. So we don't. You know, the preacher just went through the Beatitudes. I love the Beatitudes. If you don't love the Beatitudes, read them again. And if you don't love them, then read them again and again and again and again. Because you want to talk about utopia life. Whew. I can't wait until we live in that life. But in there, blessed are the peacemakers. They'll be called the children of God. Brother Ron, this is not the peacemaker. If I'm going to bring peace in your life, you know what I have to bring first? Conflict. Does a person get saved before he's a sinner? No need of God until you're a sinner. No need to change until there's conflict. Which, by the way, if you follow the Beatitudes, they go in a logical order. You know, blessed are the broken, the sad, the mourning. Because that's what happens when you see your broken sadness, you mourn. They go in a logical order. You know what happens after you're a peacemaker? You're persecuted. Because it takes conflict to bring peace. Whew. 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 We're dealing with compromise. And I don't want it just to be the compromise we can check off. I'm good. These two churches could have checked those off. It should take some examination. The judgment here is not good, but the promises are great. All chosen compromises. This is my thought, okay? So you can disagree with this. I wouldn't argue with it. I'll probably laugh at you, but I won't. I'll do it quietly on the other way. All chosen compromise, I believe, begins with a loss of passion for our first love. When we allow love to go cold for our one true love, and the warmth and security that is promised from another, not our true love, begins to become inviting. Begins to sound reasonable. And before you know it, they're right. These two churches were allowing sleeping with the enemy. What does he say to him? He says, repent. Quit serving the system. Quit acting as if the system will provide your needs. And then two promises. We're going to look at these two promises. I love these two. We're going to get these two, and we're going to get the last two. Verse 17. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh, I will give to eat of the hidden manna. Now we know manna. Manna in the wilderness, miracle, wonderful, sweet, whatever that God provided for his people. At the time the manna was given and it was placed in the ark, they didn't understand that picture. And so he was taken. But he is our man. And just like I provided for them, I will provide for you too. You do not have to compromise to live in the system. You don't can truly start living my way. Step out, try it. Try it. Give a soft answer when anger and wrath and manipulation will get you what you want. Give a soft answer. Try it. Give forgiveness when you want to protect yourself. Ron, I tell you, these things aren't easy. If you do it, I'll take care of you. The next one there was well, too. I will give to eat of the hidden manna, and I will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth. Saving him that receiveth it. See, that first promise, it talks about his provision. The second one, it's back to intimacy. Josh and Katie just got engaged. You want to know how I know? Because she just got a stone. Mr. Give his bride a stone. I like this better. And he's going to write on it a special name that nobody knows. Now, people keep names, nicknames, and I don't always understand. You know, like, remember the football player who was here, Booger McFarland? I would have changed my name to Anthony as quick as I could. So there are some things I don't know. But there are other names that are precious. See, and when you call him, I know who's calling me. And that name has something about me and something about my character. And it says, I have a name for all my kids. I know you have a name for your kids too. You're older than me. That makes me, I copied you. Nobody knows those names. You said, well, you say it all along. Nobody remembers. I've been calling Eric the same thing since he was 2 years old. There's probably no one in here who would even say, oh, I know what that is. But I could sit right here and say, hey, Kick. It's Dad. It's special. I'm sure he's giving me a name. When I hear it, I know he knows me. And it's going to be special. So he says, don't compromise. You don't need it. I want all of you, and I'll take care of you. You don't need Balaam or the Nicolaitans or Jezebel, because they're not your friends. But Doug, close in one prayer.
Gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we